not about to sleep peacefully knowing that you fucking with somebody else. I went through his phone and he was planning this for a minute. Like, is this thing on? What's up, YouTube? Welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hey girl, hey. I was supposed to be finishing a hair install video that I started yesterday, but this was like more interesting. So I just said, look, I'm gonna go ahead and get him this story time, and I'm gonna finish that video later. Okay, so if you read the title, then you already know that this is gonna be a story time on the time I got cheated on and I decided to stay. Let's just go ahead and get into the story. I'm gonna give y'all a backstory and then I'm gonna get into the tea, quote unquote. First of all, we're gonna give the guy a name, the dude I was dating a name. I think I'm gonna give him the name Red Hot. And I only say that because I'm looking at some Red Hot hot sauce. Okay, so backstory on me and Red Hot. We met my sophomore year of high school. He was a junior, about to be a senior. It was literally like the end of the school year. So we both about to go into a new grade. We both had like a mutual friend. They had classes together. They were in the same grade. And I was a grade below them, but she was in one of my classes or whatever. And I knew her from like previous years and stuff. So like he would go through her to like get in contact with me. And one day like she came up to me and she was like, hey, such and such, asked for your Facebook, all this, all that. So I gave it to her and she gave it to him. And that same day he ended up texting me. I seen the text. He texted me like as soon as we got out of school, and I seen the text, but I didn't text back immediately. I took a nap and then texted him back because I didn't want to seem pressed. So yeah, I texted him back and we kick it off. You know, it's not an established relationship, but we're basically like talking. Fast forward to the summer. It's maybe like midsummer. He's in summer school and I'm just living my best life during the summer. We stopped talking for like a whole day. The next day I see him on Facebook kissing another girl. All I remember is like, what the fuck? I woke up and I seen a picture of him kissing another girl. But before I even saw that, this is what I seen on Facebook. This was the day that we didn't talk. He posted a status that said, I think I'm in love. Mind you, he hasn't talked to me all day. What do you mean you think you're in love? So the girl that he ended up kissing on Facebook, her best friend commented, with who? He posted these emojis, y'all gonna see right here, and she says, with my bestie, and he says, no. She talking about what the hell, who the fuck? Basically, you know what vibes y'all getting from that. Like, if you're not in love with my best friend, who else you in love with? Clearly nobody knew about me. That's what I seen the day before, but I didn't even pay it no mind.
You're a dummy, bitch.
Like, I didn't ask him about it, none of that. I just let it go, and then the next day I ended up seeing him kissing. So immediately I blocked him on everything. Like, I was like, okay, f this nigga. Like, what? We stopped talking for one day and you already moved on? What type of shit you on? So y'all, the story don't even end there. So fast forward to the next school year. See him around school. Like, he's trying to get my attention bad, but I'm not talking to this man. Like, we in the same lunch. He's like trying to get my attention at lunch. He want to walk in the halls with me, but I'm ignoring this man like to my best ability. I'm ignoring him. But maybe like November, he starts to try again. He went through the same girl again, and he was basically trying to get her to get me to talk to him. She was telling me to unblock him. Then when he saw that it wasn't working, he started going through other people. And then when that wasn't working, he decided to start posting on my Facebook. So I'm like, all right, now you're doing too much. What do you want? What do you want? Like, what's up? He started texting me or whatever. He was like, I miss you being my bae, all this shit. And I'm like, don't you have a girlfriend? And he's like, no. And I was like, oh. And he was like, you fuck with somebody? And I said, no. And he was like, you gonna be my bae again? And I was like, I doubt it. That's the clue right there. Like, duh, nigga, I'm gonna be your bae again. Like, delusional. If I'm not nothing else, I was fucking delusional in this whole relationship. So we talking, we chopping it up, and we ended up getting back together. And this time it's going good. Like, he promised he wasn't gonna hurt me again. All this extra dumbass shit. Like, we was together, there was no cheating, there was no infidelity, there was nothing going on. Like, we were both loyal to each other for like a year and a half. So he's a senior and it's to the point where he's about to graduate. At the end of my junior year, I start like acting out, skipping school, doing all this just to be close to him, because you know when it's senior year and stuff, they can get out of school early. They don't even have to come some days. So stuff like that. Like, when he didn't come, I didn't come. When he got out early, I left with him and all that stuff. So my mom already seen the signs. First of all, my mom was living in a whole nother state. She moved to Maryland my junior year. That's her calling me right now. She moved to Maryland my junior year, and what was I at? Yeah, my junior year I started acting out, skipping school, all that. Now that's important because that's going to lead into the next part of the story. So my job, I'm skipping school, doing all this, doing all that. I'm living with my aunt. My mother is in a whole nother state. So I was lying to my aunt like shit. Like my aunt don't have, she's not on like my school contact and all that stuff. My mother moving was like a last minute thing. So it wasn't like, okay, let me go to the school, give the emergency contact, all that. No, it was none of that. They would like call my mom and tell her that I was late to school or I left early or something like that. And I would just make up dumbass excuses. And it worked for a little bit, but after a while it's like, girl, no, like no. So my aunt, she realized what was going on because I ended up staying at his house. I got in trouble for that, and that's a whole nother story time if y'all want that. I ended up staying at his house and I got in big trouble. Like I got in, when I tell y'all my whole family was involved, me and my mom kind of fought. I didn't fight. Me and my mom kind of fought. It was like this big ass thing just because I ended up staying at his house for like a week. Don't say it back, don't say it back. But yeah, I got in trouble, and that's when my aunt was like, okay, you're not going to be able to stay here for your senior year. Like, you're doing the fucking most. So me being me, I was upset at the time, but like I understand where she was coming from. If nobody's giving you permission, first of all, you being sneaky. Fast forward to the summer, I moved to my mom's house, and my senior year rolls around. Like the whole summer we was coming down, come visit and everything, so I was cool. But when the school year came around, like I was not seeing my boyfriend. Like only thing we was doing was FaceTime and texting and all this stuff, and it was getting so irritating. I didn't know nobody at my new school, so I would skip school then too. So my mom left early. She used to leave early in the morning, like before I went to school. So like I would just stay home some days, like a lot of days. So we came up with this deal. Why my mom do this with me, I don't know, but my mom came up with this deal. She was like, okay, if I move him up here, will you promise to go to school? Will you promise to get on your shit, get on your shit? That was the best motherfucking deal I ever heard, ever. Like, you're gonna move my boyfriend up here when I've been I haven't been doing nothing but being rude to you. Like, I'm not proud of this shit, but this is literally what was happening in life. And mind you, I had just lost my father. The first month my senior year started, I lost my father. So that literally set me off. So like I was being rude, disrespectful, wasn't going to school, doing all this stuff. I was telling her I wanted to drop out and all this extra stuff. I was just, you know, being reckless. So she was like, okay, if I move him up here, will you promise to do this and that? I was like, yeah, of course. So she moved him up here, and that was like the worst decision we've ever made, like we ever made. He moved up there around this time. It was probably like February or March. Shit going good for like the first month maybe, and then after that we just started getting into arguments. We start being so toxic, fighting, literally fighting. Like mind you, we were getting arguments before, but like these altercations was physical. So one day we went to 7-Eleven, and the dude in 7-Eleven was basically like being really rude to me. Red Hot wasn't saying nothing. So I'm like, are you my nigga or what? This man was probably like 30 years old. So like, I don't know what I expected him to do at the time when he's like 18 and I'm 17. But I wanted him to at least say something. He didn't even say nothing to the dude. After we leave the store, I'm like, you didn't hear him being rude to me or none of that. Basically trying to get him to say something. Because he acted like he didn't see what was going on. So that turns into a huge argument. We actually end up fighting outside on the way back from the store. Like the store was across the street from where we live. And we ended up fighting on the way back. Mind you, it's like 10 o'clock at night. And I ended up telling my mom that, you know, what happened. And she makes him sleep in the laundry room that night. She's like, okay, I brought you up here, but I didn't bring you up here to be fighting on my daughter. Like, he ended up slinging me that night. So she was like, I didn't bring you up here to fight on my daughter. So she made him sleep in the laundry room that night. And he's like, what the fuck, you brought me up here and you gonna make me sleep in the laundry room? Like, you the one that told me I should come up here. I went down there and slept with him, like slept in the laundry room with him, because we didn't even sleep. We just sat there. I was so dumb and in love. I was still mad at him, but like I was like, this is fucked up. Like, I'm not about to let you sleep in this laundry room by yourself. I wake up in the morning, you gone, don't know where the fuck you at. What am I gonna tell your mother? So I just went down there with him and we ended up talking it out and all this stuff. But the next weekend we get another argument and he ends up telling me that he wants to move back to where we were from. He was telling me the reason was because he missed his family and he missed his friends, his people and all that stuff, which is understandable because neither one of us knew anybody up here. But I didn't have that many friends and family. He was more of a social person than I was, so like I could understand where he was coming from. So I was like, okay, cool, da 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 da. But the thing is, I went through his phone and he was planning this for a minute. Like, it wasn't just some, oh, I miss my family, miss my friends type shit. No, he was already telling people before he even told me that he was going back down. He was already telling people that he was going to be there this weekend. So that got me hot. But you know what? I'm like, okay, cool. So me being me, I was like, you're not leaving me. So I ended up making this deal with my mom again and my aunt. My aunt's a nail tech, so I was like, okay, if I go down there and you teach me how to do nails for the summer and I get my own apartment and all that stuff, would that be cool? My aunt was down. She was like, yeah, I can't wait to teach you how to do nails, all this stuff. His mom ended up coming up that same weekend to get him, and I think I went back down there with them, or my mom went down there too. I don't know how it happened, but I know we both ended up down there at the same time. I'm living with my aunt and he's living with his mom and going good. Now he gets a job at, like, I don't even remember where he was working at, but I remember him getting a job.
Now that I'm thinking about it, that boy did not have no job. He was ignoring the fuck out of me. Like, he didn't have a job. He ended up getting a job later, but as I'm trying to tell the story, I mean, as I'm editing the video, I'm remembering, like, no. At first, he didn't have a job. He didn't have a job for a while.
The communication had kind of got slow. He would tell me like he was working. He would tell me he's busy and all this stuff. But we would like go days without talking. I was used to talking to him every day. Mind you all, we were just living together. Like, I'm attached to you type shit. So I ended up texting him this whole paragraph. Like, y'all, I don't even send paragraphs no more. Don't ever, look, don't ever expect a paragraph from me. So I ended up texting him. I was like, I don't know about you, but I feel like my time is getting wasted. For the last few weeks I wait all day for a reply just for you to say you was asleep or with somebody else, and I just think if we're ever going to talk for real, I'm gonna have to wait hours to talk to you. We should just call it quits. I feel like I've been getting put in last place since we broke up, and I don't F with that. If you busy, I understand. Just don't leave me hanging or waiting.
I know I keep interrupting y'all a little video, but I forgot to mention that these screenshots came from a old conversation that I had with one of my good friends at the time. I used to tell her everything. Like, I used to send her screenshots of everything so she could be hip to the tea that I was telling her. So don't think I'm pressed and still got those messages or nothing like that. That's just, yeah, I just had to throw that in there.
Maybe we did break up when we came down there, but still tried to like be cordial or whatever. I don't know how that went. But basically, I felt like he was putting me on the back burner, and I let him know, like, I didn't like that. So he was like, it's nothing like that. I just got a bad phone call today. Just ain't feel like talking for real, for real. I mean, this been happening since we broke up, but I feel like it's something else. So I'm gonna just distance myself. It's cool. Mind y'all, he don't sleep like that. So for you to be sleeping all day, that just, you're lying. Like, and you got a bad phone call. What's the bad phone call? None of your family members died. What's the bad phone call? Like, I should have said, oh, for real, what happened type shit. Like, but he would have just came up with another lie. Like, we still like not talking for real, and then he ends up inviting me to his nephew's birthday party. So I get there, but the vibes with his family was kind of weird. Like, they were looking at me weird, like, you know, I didn't belong there type shit. But I didn't pay it no mind. I just stuck with him, and I was around like his cousins and brothers or something like that. They all fake as fuck, but like we was all like chilling and shit. And we go upstairs to smoke a J in the bathroom by ourselves, and I realized that he didn't have his phone. So I asked him, where's your phone at? Like, and he tells me my phone dead and I don't know where the charger at. Okay, I brushed it off. We finished smoking. We go downstairs and we go outside. He leaves me outside. I'm literally standing outside with his cousins and his friends, and they're just like talking, like Some of them talking to me, some of them not. Like, it's just, it was awkward as hell. So I was like, okay, I'm finna leave. So before I leave, I think I grabbed his phone, or I asked him to see his phone. I grabbed his phone and he snatches it from me. Like, we're at the door and he snatches it from me. And he's like, give me my phone, or give me my damn phone, or something like that. So I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you never acted like this when I grabbed your phone before. What the fuck is up with you? Like, you're really acting weird. You're acting different. Why would you invite me here if you know you fucking with somebody else anyway? Like, you're weird. I'm finna leave. So I end up leaving, and I ended up blocking him on everything. Cause you can just tell when a nigga like doing something. You're acting mad different. Like, when you know a nigga like the back of your hand and shit start to change, you're gonna feel that. You're gonna know. Like, you know what's up. So I ended up blocking him on everything, and he goes through his brother page and all this stuff to start texting me. So he texts me, you blocked me for what though? It don't matter. Don't care no more. Fuck it. Right? 8:45 a.m. 10:41 a.m. Mind you, I didn't reply to him or nothing. He talking about, can you talk to me please? That's how you know you did some fucked up. If you don't give a fuck, just leave it at that. You don't give a fuck. Okay, cool. I'm gone. You over there. We chilling. Like, it's nothing. You don't have to give a fuck, because at this point I don't even give a fuck. Like, so he ended up making a fake page and all this stuff. So he texted me, and like, I'm basically telling him like, leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want nothing to do with you, all this extra stuff. But he's like begging. He like, can I see you just one last time, like, please, I promise, like, I don't fuck with nobody, like, all this stuff. Now, mind y'all, at this time I didn't have proof that he was fucking with somebody. I just was going off his actions. So I was like, okay. He ends up pulling up on me one night around like 11 o'clock on a bike. Y'all, when I tell you he lived like where my aunt lived, and where he lived was like maybe a 15-minute drive. So imagine on a bike. Well, he pulls up on me on a bike, and he's like, come spend the night with me. Y'all, I did it. I packed my shit and I got on the back of that bike, and I went with him. But the whole bike ride, right, he's like acting mad weird. Like, he's acting weird. He's throwing his hoodie on, scrunching that bitch up, like looking both ways every 5 seconds. Like, he did not want to be seen with me. And I'm picking this shit up. I'm noticing this shit. I'm like, bruh, I know I did not just fall for this dumb shit again. Like, bruh, I was kind of irritated. But we get to his house. I put my shit up, and we instantly go to sleep. Cool. I was tired anyway. I just got off a motherfucking hike with your ass. Like, yeah, I'm going to sleep. Now, this is where the story should have ended, but it didn't. The next day, we get up, and he's sleeping all day. Like, he's sleeping like he got a baby on the way. That's what's in my head, but that's not, that wasn't the case. So he's sleeping all day, and I'm fucking sick of sleeping. Like, I don't do this shit. Like, I could have literally went to work. My job is literally around the corner. I can go to work. I can call in and go to work. Like, I'm not about to sit here and sleep with your ass all day. So he's sleeping all day. It's dark at this point, and I tap him. I'm like, can we get up? Can we do something? He like, nah, I'm tired. So he falls back to sleep, and I'm on my phone just chilling. And I get the epiphany. I'm like, go through this nigga phone. Just go through this nigga phone. I get up, I sneak off him, because we're sleeping on the couch. He's like against the pillows, and I'm in front of him. So I slide off the couch, being real sneaky, make sure he don't wake up. And I'm looking for his phone. His phone is on the other end of the couch, on the floor, on the charger. So I pick up his phone, and I pray to God. I literally prayed to God before I went to his phone. I remember that vividly. It was dark in there, so he couldn't really see me. So I prayed to God, and I unlocked his phone. First of all, his phone didn't even have a password. I just turned the screen on and swiped up, and it was unlocked. I was like, God, I know I just prayed to you, but I ain't expect you to answer my prayers like that. So I'm going through his phone, and I don't see nothing. I'm going through his messenger, I'm going through his Instagram, I'm going through his regular messages, and I don't see nothing. So I'm like, no, bruh, something got to be up. Like, I can't be this dumb. Like, he's acting mad weird. Like, something is up. I go back to messenger. I'm like, he's close with his mom. Let me see what they've been talking about. So I scroll, and boom, I see a message that say, Mom, my girlfriend said she gonna let me file her baby on my taxes this year. So you have a girlfriend that has a baby? You have a girlfriend that has a baby? I lose it. I don't even remember what happened, but look, I remember we was arguing. I'm like, you got a whole nother bitch. Like, he trying to tell me all this stuff like, no, that's old, look at the days. I don't fuck with her no more. Like, all this stuff. And then he gets to gaslighting me. He trying to flip the script. Like, well, if you don't believe me, then you can get the fuck out right now. You can get out right now. So what did I do? I got my shit and I got out. And I called my aunt. I'm like, hey, can you come get me? I didn't tell her the situation yet, but I'm like, can you come get me? Like, I'm crying and shit. I'm like, can you come get me? As I'm on the phone with my aunt, and I ended up calling my mom too, but as I'm on the phone with my aunt, he runs out his house and like starts grabbing me, like trying to get me to go back in the house. I'm like, what the fuck do you want from me? Like, you're cheating on me and all this stuff. What do you want from me? What do you want? So like, he ends up like stop grabbing me because he see that I'm not going back in his house, and across the street was a bus stop with like the little seat thing with the cover. So I go over there and I'm sitting over there and I'm just waiting for my aunt to come get me. I was so heartbroken. Like, y'all, that shit was so fucked up. Now mind y'all, I went through him and his mom messages, so I still don't know who the girl is. I didn't see no messages from who the girl was on none of that stuff. So like, he ends up coming to my job and bringing me flowers. And that same night, I threw the flowers away. Fast forward, we started talking again. I ended up getting my own apartment. The original plan was for us to come down here, start working, and get an apartment together. But I ended up getting my own apartment with my cousin. So I was very excited. And I wanted to tell him, like, I know I shouldn't have been talking to him because clearly he had a whole nother bitch. But we was talking a little bit because he was literally my best friend. Like, when something great happened to me, he was the person that I wanted to tell. Like, I don't know, like, I was still attached to him. Like, life was moving so fast and I was so young. Like, I ended up getting my apartment. He ends up coming over for like the first week. He was at my crib for some days. So like, maybe around the third day of him being there, he starts acting weird and all this stuff. Now, he would go home and come back. He would say like he got to grab clothes and all this stuff. Now that I think about it, he probably was going to see that bitch. But he would like say he's going to come back. Mind you, he's doing all this on a bike. So the nigga got around. Like, I don't know how. Well, clearly on a bike. But he got around. So he would come back, and like this one time he came back, he was acting so different. Like, he started being rude to me. He was saying rude comments to me out the way, like sarcastic comments and all this stuff. And I just didn't pay no mind. I'm like, okay, whatever, here we go with this again. So that same night, one of his friends came over to my house because I wanted to show, we was all like really cool, so I wanted to show him his friend my apartment too. We ended up smoking and all this stuff. And as we were smoking, I grabbed the blunt from him. Let me give y'all an example. Let's say this the blunt, this the cherry, and this where you hit it at. So I grab it like right here. It's a whole blunt. And I hit it. And he says, you need to learn how to smoke for real. You don't even know how to smoke for real. Y'all, the only reason he said that was because where I grabbed it at. So I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you're being mad weird. Like, what? Why would you say that? Like, we've been smoking together for how long, and now you want to come out your mouth and say I need to learn how to smoke for real or something like that. So like, I look at his friend, I'm like, he fucking with another bitch, ain't he? And his friend's silent. Now, that's cool. I understand you gonna take up for your friend, but bitch, you in my house. If I ask you something, answer me. He didn't, but he didn't answer me. But like, I had it in my mind, like, yeah, okay, he fucking with somebody else. I already knew. I didn't see the message before. So boom, his friends leave. Like, it's around probably like 3 o'clock in the morning. So I wake up and I see him sleeping peacefully beside me. And that grinded my gears. I'm like, you're not about to sleep peacefully knowing that you fucking with somebody else. I grab his phone again and I go through his phone again. Still didn't find nothing. But this time, I forgot that you can block people on Facebook Messenger and hide conversations. So I don't know if you can still do that, but I remember then you could. So I go to his block list on his Facebook Messenger, because Facebook, who you got blocked, and Facebook Messenger, who you got blocked, is 2 different lists. So I go on his Facebook Messenger and see who he got blocked, and literally the first person he blocked, he had blocked was the girl that he was dealing with. So I click on her and I go to their messages and I'm just reading this shit. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, so it's all true. Going, like, looking at the dates. Like, it's all true. Like, what the fuck? You was playing the fuck out of me. So I wake him up. I don't remember how. I feel like I pushed him or punched him or something. And I woke him up and I just got the spasm on his ass. I'm like, bro, you laid up in my crib doing all this shit and you got a whole nother bitch like that. Get the fuck out my house. Get the fuck out my house. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm telling him to get the fuck out. So again, he goes to flipping the script on me. Bitch, fuck you, like And at this time, I had a little pregnancy scare. Ma, if you watch this, I know. I had a little pregnancy scare. And so as he's leaving out, he's like, fuck you and that baby. Fuck you and that baby. And my brother had a baby on the way. He's like, fuck you, that baby, and your unborn nephew. I'm like, you a rude ass nigga. You really don't give a fuck. So he's yelling, and at this point I'm just over it. I'm like, just get the fuck out my house. And he gets out and he's still yelling, like, because I can hear him from outside of my apartment. So I'm looking out my window and he's looking up on his bike, riding away, just yelling. I'm like, you look dumb as shit. Like, nobody even knows who you're yelling at. Just leave. Like, so he leaves and I go to sleep. And the next day I wake up, I see his brother on Facebook Live. So you know how on Facebook you can watch a story, but you can watch a live video, but you don't have to click on it, right? You can like click the little volume thing and you can hear the live, you can hear what they saying. So I click on the little volume thing and I hear that they talking about the situation. His brother like, yeah, and he said girl or something like that. I'm like, first of all, don't call me his girl. I don't even know what he said, but he said, yeah, he got kicked out last night. They laughing about it. Whole time I see him in the back laughing. I'm like, you wasn't laughing last night when you had to leave on that bike, was you? No, so shut the fuck up. So like, it was pissing me off. He laughing about the situation and his brother goes to grab the phone back from him. So when he was on the live, he wasn't trying to show like who was beside him or like what he was doing type shit. So when his brother grabs the phone back from him, I see the girl beside him. So I'm like, bro, like I felt like an idiot. I was like, wow, like I really just like, I don't even know, like I was just like so done. I was like, wow, like you literally was just telling me yesterday that you wanted to do all this and that with me, and like now I was just like so sad, like, but what could I do at that point? Like I couldn't do nothing but just keep going on with my life. So that's what I did. I moved on. I moved the fuck on. Now the girl, so he would hit me up randomly, like just asking, can we get back together, can he see me one last time? And I would literally ignore him, or I would be like, no. Like this time I was firm, I was over him, like it was no going back, like none of that. So the girl, one day he had texted me. Okay, so let me go back to when he had left my crib. This is the paragraph I sent him. I was just going in. I'm not finna read this whole shit. I'm gonna put it right here so y'all can read it, but like I was just going in on him. That's a long ass paragraph. Wow. Months go past and I'm like still ignoring him and all this shit, and they're together at this point, like they're official. So he texts me one day and he's calling me bae. Like I was not responding to him at all. I had nothing to say to him. I was completely done with him. Like I was talking to somebody new and all that stuff. I didn't have nothing to say to him. So he would text me and all this stuff, and then one day he ended up texting me and he was like, he had sent me some emojis or whatever, and I didn't respond. He sent me that at like 12:15 a.m. So the next morning, or that same morning, I get a message that said he doing all that capping, inboxing me inboxing you because he mad at me and will be right back in my face, eating my ass again, just to let you know. Hashtag her name. So I'm like, okay, LOL, hashtag y'all weird. Because bitch, if you look at the messages, I haven't been talking to him. So what the fuck is you in my inbox for? Like, leave me the fuck alone. That's what I said, and nobody responded. So I ended up blocking that page again. Fast forward, literally it's been months he's texting me, and I'm not responding. the time comes around, his friend, the friend that came to my house, his friend is talking to my friend. So I don't know if that was like a setup type shit or whatever, but he ended up trying to talk to me again. No, didn't happen. So one day, me and Dime, we're gonna call her Dime. Me and Dime living together at this point, because my cousin barely was home, so she was like, you can get another roommate, or we could just like not get the like do the apartment thing no more. So I ended up getting another roommate, which was Dime, and we ended up like being real cool, close. She was my best friend. So I'm living with Dime, and me and Dime decided to go up to visit my mom or whatever, go up to Maryland to visit my mom. He ended up meeting these guys, and we kicked it off real good. Like, we was chilling with them the whole time. I know we was up there to see my mom, but like we was chilling with them the whole time we was there. And one day we wake up and I have like a bunch of messages and calls from like an unknown number that I don't know, never seen before, and it's like a bunch of random ass shit. And I'm looking at Dime because she knows about the situation about me and him, me and Red Hot. So I look at Dime, I'm like, look at this. She's like, that's Red Hot. I'm like, I know, but he's like calling, he's being rude. So I answer one of the calls, because I just want to make sure, like, let me hear this voice to make sure it's you, because the shit that they was saying was kind of weird. They was basically saying like, oh, I'm gonna beat your ass and all this stuff. That didn't really sound like him, but I don't have no beef with nobody else, so of course it's him. So he called, he called, and I ended up answering, and he's like saying all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, that's you, and I hang up. We get back, right, and that same number calls me. This like days later, we get back in town, and the same number calls me, and I pick up, and it's him, but this time he's on different type time, and he's like, can I see you? Oh, you finally answered my call type shit. So I'm like, no, what the fuck is up with you? Why was you doing all that shit on my phone? Like, you playing on my phone? Like, he thought shit was gonna be sweet. No, I answered just so I could cuss your ass out. So he's like, so I'm talking to him like, why the fuck you being weird? Like, it's been months, leave me alone. Like, I don't want to talk to you. I don't have nothing to say to you. Just leave me alone type shit. So he was like, I just wanted to know if you still live in that apartment. I was out there the other day, all day shooting a music video, and I didn't see you. So bitch, you stalking me now? You stalking me? Like, what the fuck? Yeah, I still live out here. And the thing is, I didn't tell him I still live out there, but he's like pressing, I don't live out there no more. He's like, you don't live out there no more. So I hang up. Conversation done. And like, y'all, that's basically like the end of the story. But when I tell y'all, to this day, I'm still getting stalked by him and his girlfriend. Literally yesterday, this is kind of the reason that I'm doing a story time now. Yesterday, the girl on my TikTok liking my videos. Girl, I don't want him. It's been 4 years. I don't know how the conversations are going with him and her, but I should not be in them. After that one time she said something and I called them weird, she hasn't said nothing else to me. Let's just leave it at that. You go be happy or whatever and leave me out of it. So yeah, y'all, that's my crazy story time with the time I got cheated on and decided to go back, kept going back. Yeah, if y'all enjoyed the story time, let me know down below what situation would have made you leave. Let me know what would have been y'all last straw. And I'll see y'all in my next video. Wait, make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on all my social medias, which will be down below in the description. And yeah, I'll see y'all in my next video. Bye.